The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a commentary by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. This is a lecture titled Veils of Misery, given on January 3rd, 1995, at Weggis Switzerland. We were talking about tapas. What does tapas do? Why should we undergo tapas? It purifies our system and strengthens our system. Strength and purity. That is the purpose of tapas. But the tapas can bring big ego in a person. Unfortunately, people think doing great tapas means you have become very great. Someone has to fast for long periods of time. That means he must have had a lot of impurities out of proportion. Glorifying tapas simply leads to ego. I have done a lot of prayer, added lots and lots of meditation. This type of understanding about oneself brings ego. That is why the next thing immediately after tapas is swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is self study. See, when you are doing fasting, is it just to show off? Is it in competition with somebody? That is a story. Two gentlemen were sitting and meditating, doing some tapas. They were neighbors. And God came to one of them and asked him, "What is it that you want?" Said, "Whatever you will, give it to the next door neighbor." He asked him, "Are you going to visit my neighbor also?" God said, "Yes, of course. He is also doing. You both started tapas on the same day. You started an hour earlier, so I came first to you. What is it that you want?" He said, "Can't you somehow avoid going to the other man?" God said, "No, it will become injustice. That's not good. I have to go and see him. But tell me, what is that you want?" He said, "Okay, whatever you give it to the other person, you give me twice as much." So God went to the other man and asked him, "What is it you want?" "But wait a minute, are you coming from the neighbor?" "Yes." "What did you give him?" God was silent. "No, tell me, come on. What did he ask?" God hesitated for a minute and then he said, "Well, he asked to be given twice as much whatever you ask." This man said, "Yeah, is that what he wanted? Okay, you can take away one of my eyes and one of my ears. I will teach him a lesson. He is always in competition with me. Now let him have twice as much as what I have." This sort of tapas without self study leads to ego. So, immediately, almost in the same sutra, simultaneously, he says Swadhyaya, self study. Look into the motives behind your actions. Often, you don't go for things that you really want. You go to things because others would want it, or what others would say, think, or do about it. How many times what you want you are not clear because you never looked into yourself? You are swayed away by fleeting thoughts and fleeting emotions, fleeting desires. Your desire is not even your desire. You went and ate something somewhere, and wrong food or whatever it was, and all those food and all those events situation, company, everything brought in a storm inside you, and you started believing that storm as you are very sad. That's why often you are not happy when your desires are fulfilled, or the fulfillment of your desires does not stay too long or charming. Within weeks, they break down, and you wonder, why did I get into this? Or you start believing you really wanted it, that's why it happened. Self study, observing themselves. What is yourself? Who are you? You have purified the body, but are you the body? You've made your mind light. Are you the mind? Are you your thoughts? Are you your emotions? Who are you? This self study lifts you upward to the universe that is unknown to us. Self study takes you a step further, and self study eliminates misery and suffering of the mind. Buddha has said this so beautifully, said, Kayanu Paschanat, that is tapas. Observe the body. Vedanu Paschanat, observe the sensations in the body. Chittanu Paschanat, observe the mind, the impressions in the mind, thoughts in the mind, cravings in the mind. Damanu Paschanat, observe your very nature. Observe the dharma, the nature that you are. 4 steps Buddha has said. The same thing Patanjali has said. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana. Swadhyaya can eliminate all mental, emotional impurities, uncertainties, fears, anxieties. And Ishvara, Pradidhana, love of God, surrender to the Lord will complete the process. Without love, self study becomes another dry stuff. Without surrender, self study is not charming. Without devotion, without love, spiritual path becomes very, very dry, like styrofoam. It's like a cake without sweet, a pudding without sweet, without sugar, a bread without salt or taste. Ishvara Pradidhan. How can love for Lord can happen, can blossom in you? First step is to see Lord as different from you. Lord and me. Two is needed to surrender. Lord of all virtues, and I am nobody. In this nobodiness, union happens. Then the realization comes. It's all you. From it's all you, it's all me, I. This body, this universe is yours. O Lord, this whole universe is you, this whole body is yours. This mind is yours. This mind with all its conflict is also yours. The mind with all its conflict is also yours. The mind with all its beauty is yours. This offering itself is a technique which brings you back home. Ishvara Pradadidhan brings about samadhi or ecstasy in that meditation. Offering candles, offering incense, offering flowers is not great. Offer every part of your body. Offer every moment of life. Offer every breath. Offer every thought, good, bad, pleasant, unpleasant, anything. Offer all that vasanas or those things which you consider are your negative points. Offering all the negativity, offering all the positivity. See, offering all the negativity, you become free. Offering all that positive virtues you think you possess, you become free. You will not become arrogant. Virtues make you arrogant. Virtues make you believe, behave as though you are special. And demerits or your drawbacks pulls you down and make you feel bad about yourself. And if you start feeling bad about yourself, unconnected to the divine, there's nothing that can make you feel connected. It's up to you to feel close to the divine. It's up to you to feel close to anybody for that matter. Don't feel close to you. You should start feeling close. It doesn't matter if they don't feel that you are close to them. How do you know? You don't know. Just by their behavior, it's not the right way to judge. Because nothing else can convince you that you are dear to the divine other than your own mind, your own self. Stop comparing. Same thing with the master. You say, oh, so and so may be more close to Guruji, not me. Because he talks to them more often, smiles at them, doesn't talk to me, smile at me. This is your illusion. Talking. Not talking does not matter. You start feeling you are the only one, you are the most closest. Then you will see that will start happening, that will start blossoming. Whatever seed you sow, that will grow. If you sow the seed that I am hopeless, I am no good, I am no good, that no good seed will grow. Often useless things, weeds, grow without any cultivation. You don't need to cultivate weeds, they just grow. But a useful plant needs some attention. Weeds do not need. In your field, many weeds are coming up every day. Useless, unwanted, unnecessary doubts, thoughts. You don't need to sow them, they just come on by themselves. By swadhyaya, by attending to them, you can weed them out and maintain only those which are essential in life. Tapas, swadhyaya, Iswara, Pranidan, Kriya Yoga. This is the yoga of action. And even doing this, see that you're not doing it as a silent. Be a silent witness. There is a depth in you, a silent corner in you. That is the seer, and that is true. This whole space is so silent. In the silent space, the entire activity is happening. Every atom is revolving around the nucleus. All the planets are moving around, and yet it is all very silent. The purpose of this is klesha tanu karana, to reduce the suffering or misery in life. Samadhi bhavanatacha, and to bring about samadhi, harmony, equanimity in life. What are the root causes of misery in life? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, panchaklesha. Ignorance is the root cause. Ignorance, root cause of suffering. And what is ignorance? To think that which is not permanent as permanent. To think or to understand that which is not changing, that which is changing as not changing, that which is not joy as joy, that which is not self as self. I am not the body, but thinking I am the body. I am not my thoughts or emotions, but thinking I am my thoughts, my emotions, and seeing this body as not changing. But you see the body changing all the time. Every day your body is changing. 24 hours blood changes. 5 days your stomach lining changes. Doctors say that. And in a whole month, the skin changes. In a year, every cell in the body changes. But never thought or understood our body is like a river. It's undergoing change all the time. Your body has completely different cells in 1 year. 3 years' time, all the old cells are dead and gone. Your new cells are there. Your body is new. Your mind is new. As you are awakened to this truth, you will see you don't identify all fears and thoughts with yourself. Ignorance is holding on to those things past, holding on to this, holding on to having an idea of who you are. People think it's a very complimentary sentence to know who you are, having an idea about who you are. Ideally, if you have an idea of who you are gone, finished, but you are stuck. You don't know who you are. That should be the right attitude. Right attitude because you are changing every moment and you have kept that possibility of change. A fixed idea about who you are destroys totally. It stops your growth. It limits, brings limit to your possibility. Asmita. Asmita is oneness of our intellect and our self. Have you noticed in some meeting, some people, they say some point and they stick to that point. They are stuck with that point actually. Most of the people to go on arguing and they argue meaningless, senseless argument. This senseless argument comes because they are so stuck thinking that is their intellect. Intellect as themselves, thoughts as themselves, my thought, my position, me. Inability to see the self and the buddhi or the intellect and the power of the instruments of perception as separate is asmita. Raga, craving. And craving comes with a pleasant experience. Yes, you have a pleasant experience and that creates a craving in you. And this craving makes you miserable. This is beautiful. Patanjali has said there is only 5 sources of misery. There's no sixth source of misery. Ignorance of thinking that which is changing as non changing. We try to control others' minds saying, you should be this way, you should be that way. How is it possible? Someone may have love for you yesterday. They need not have today or tomorrow. Who knows? They themselves do not know. We expect an enlightened behavior from everybody around us. Then we become unhappy. You are not behaving in an enlightened way, but you expect everyone around you to be enlightened. Unconditional love. One in a million you will get who can be unconditionally loving. But when you expect that from all people around you, that is where you become unhappy. Knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously. This is what everybody does. Everybody is expecting unconditional love from people that they meet with, isn't it? And they do not even know what they are expecting, but their expectation is something very big. They are seeking God in everybody. And they are seeking God without seeing that God could be here in any manner He wants. They are looking for a saintly God in everybody around them. How things should be, that makes you more miserable. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha. Hatred. Hatred comes, aversion comes with an unpleasant experience. Aversion also brings same misery as happiness brings misery. Craving and aversion, both sources of misery. Abhinivesha said fear. An unknown fear. Though intellectually you know everything, even great scholars, a little amount of abhinivesha, fear exists. It is seen as such. Nature has imposed all these five things in everybody. Now, how thin this can get or how thick it will remain makes you either evolved or unevolved. These miseries have got four stages. One is when they are asleep in you. The next sutra says, Prasutavastha. These miseries can be, Prasuta means sleeping, dormant. Tanu means they have become very feeble. As though they are not at all there. Very feeble. Prachanna means one of them, when they become dormant, others will go bankrupt. Do you see what I'm saying? When a craving is there, aversion is in the background, fear is in the background, everything goes to the background. Among these five, when ignorance is there, you are not even aware of these two things in you. That the perception, my intellect, that is what my mind is saying, I and my mind. This difference is not there. You're so totally caught up in a situation. When you're conscious, aware, then you know, oh, this is what my mind is saying. You know, this is what I want, this is what is happening. You see that difference between you. Sometimes you say, oh, what has happened to my head? You know, a person who is conscious, aware would say, what has happened to my head? Am I going crazy? But a person who has really become crazy will not even think that he has become crazy. What happens is when you have a person who is gone, is available to see what has happened to them, because his faculty has become so one together that it's unable to find the distinction. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, sometimes you get angry and you're not expressing the anger. You know you are angry, and there's auto, I am angry. Why am I getting angry? Oh, same thing. You become lustful, and then you become aware, oh, I am getting lust, excited, or lustful of passion. But a person who loses his temper is not aware that he is getting angry. He becomes the anger. Do you see what I'm saying? So sadhana makes these kleshas, the five sources of misery, as thin as possible as day goes. So before you were on spiritual path, you were getting angry. And now also you may get angry, but there's a big difference in the quality of anger. Do you see what I'm saying? There is a shift here. It has become tannu, means it is thinned down. The curtains have become more and more transparent. Prachanna means one is dominant, the others are all gone underneath. And Udhara. Udhara means when they are very generous, when they are active fully. This you can find in the whole society, in the world. People who are not even doing any practice, meditation, all these miseries are in their generous form. It's so nice of Patanjali to call them generous form. They are very generous. They are found everywhere. Frustrated and miserable people no lack throughout the ages. Udhara, they are form where they are fully active. Fear, people are afraid. So, a little fear is kept in the body so that the body could be maintained. Do you see what I'm saying? But it should be just as much as a salt, less than a salt. Minute amount of fear remains in the body. That's why it's called Vidushupi. Though the knower of a lot of scriptures and knowledge, even in them, it is found in small amount. It should not be even called as fear. It can be called as more alertness. Fear becomes a different meaning altogether. An alertness, carefulness. Do you see what I'm saying? See, between careful and fear, there is a similarity of quality. That's why here he has used a word called abhinivesha and not bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Abhinivesha means there is no word for it in English. So, abhinivesha in its thickest form is fear. In its thinnest form, in its diluted form, it is the care. Are you getting what I'm saying? You are walking on the edge of the lake and you are walking. You are putting your steps carefully so that you don't fall in the water. If this care is not there for the body, then body could just vanish, disappear. You can fall in the water. And when I am not the body, I don't attend to the body at all. They cannot have the body to speak also for longer or to do anything. See, to maintain the body, a certain amount of care is essential. Is this clear? And when this care becomes little more than what it is really needed, then that becomes insecurity. Becomes little more, it becomes fear. Becomes little more, it becomes paranoid. It's just like if salt becomes little more in the food, it becomes impossible to eat that food. But here one cannot justify, oh, it should be there, let it be a little. No, no, it can be there, so what? No, no, no. Tanu Karana. Thin them down, reduce it, reduce it to its minimum. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha, Pancha Klesha. The five kleshas, five sources of misery. Tata Prati Prasava Heya Suksma. Then you make them subtle and subtle and subtle. They let you come back to yourself. They bring the mind back to the source. When these miseries are very thick, it bothers you. It captivates your mind. The moment they become thinner and thinner, they let your mind free and get it back to itself, the source. See, when you are craving for somebody a lot, a teenager or the youth is craving for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, when the craving is there, the mind is not settled. It is unable to sit, meditate. But once that craving gets eliminated, then they are able to take a deep sigh and sit and go deep inside. Do you see what I'm saying? The grip of feverishness is loosened. As soon as that gets loosened, feverishness, the klesha, gets reduced. It allows the mind to get back to the source. Now, what is the way to get rid of these miseries in life? Next sutra that we will not do tomorrow, today itself. Dhyana heya tad vrataya is that it makes these five vrittis can be eliminated through meditation. Misery can be overcome through meditation. And it must be done, he emphasized. You have to get rid of them only through meditation. If you don't do it, then what will happen? Klesa mula karma asayo drishta adrishta janma vedanya. If you don't cleanse your consciousness of these five miseries, impurity, sources of misery, whatever, then you will have to suffer in this life and the next. Says, Drishta Adrishta Janma Vedanya. There is no way you will have to suffer in this life. You have to undergo this suffering, this misery in this life. Not only now, also in the coming life also. Because they form as karma ashaya, as a bank of karma, reserve. They get into your reserve tank in you as karma tank. And through meditation, this karma can be washed out, eliminated, right now, here. Before the body drops you, you get rid of the karma and lessen the sheets of ignorance over you. Otherwise, there is no escape from you, for you from this. Drishta adrishta janma vedanya. Some will give fruit in this life itself. Some will stay back with you to give fruit in the next life. Now, some people have an argument that if you put your finger in the fire, will it burn today? Or will it burn tomorrow or next year, next lifetime? There's nothing karma and everything. Of course, every fruit, every action has got its repercussions, but you have to do it immediately. It doesn't come with you for next life or next year or anything like that. Some people have this argument, but it's not the right analogy. See, seeds, you sow some seeds. Some seeds will sprout in 2 days. If you put alpha alpha, it sprouts in 3 days. If you put peanuts, it may sprout in 4 days, 5 days. And if you want to sprout a coconut, it takes months. You plant lettuce, it will give you fruit in 3 months, 2.5 months, 6 weeks, 2 months. If you planted mango, it will give fruit in 10 years. If you plant an avocado tree, it may take for 4, 5 years, 7 years. And if you plant a jackfruit, next generation will enjoy the fruits. Different seeds have got different timings. Similarly, different karmas will give fruit at different time. Many times people ask this question, we are so good, why bad things happen to good people? Bad things never happen to good people. Even if it seemed to be happening, they were bad at some time. Now they may be good. They have done something bad, so the bad thing is happening. Those seeds, they have put some mean seeds long ago. Now they are reaped that fruit, bitter fruit of mean tree. Now they may be sowing mangoes that they will reap. As you sow, so shall you reap. Drishta adrishta janma vedanya. Sati mule tad vipako jati ayur boga. He explains little more about the genesis, how we gain our birth. As long as this root is existing, its fruit comes again and again. How they come? Jati ayur boga. Jati means in which body you are coming, where you are born. You are born as a chicken or a monkey or a human or a male or a female. Your birth is determined. Length of your life is determined. And what you will get in your life, your enjoyments or sufferings, are also determined. Why someone is born in Ethiopia and someone else is born in Switzerland? Is there any explanation? Patanjali has an insight into this phenomena. This is usually the question asked that why so and so is born there and so is born somewhere else, why so and so is miserable and why so and so is innocent, still suffering, is a big question. No logic can give you any understanding or explanation. Says, because of our past karmas, Jati Ayur Boga comes to you ultimately in different forms. How it comes? See. When a person, when he is dying, he's dying with all the memories of chicken and chicken and chicken. His consciousness, which the strongest impression at the moment of death, that was chicken. So he gets into that poultry form. His mind, soul gets into that. Whatever is the strongest impression in the mind, that persists. It's simple, very simple. You can try this in the night. You can try, see in the night, just before going to bed, just have a thought. Just think, very strongly about something. And as soon as you wake up in the morning, that will be your first thought. And in the night, also the same. In the dream, also, same thought will come up. And if you practice this for some time, say about 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, suppose 6 months you practice that until you assume all those qualities in you. As soon as you wake up, if you think about something, okay, I should, as soon as I wake up, I should shake my head like my dog. And you just do it one day. And in 6 months, you will see it will become out of your control. You get up on your feet like this. Or if you say, I should kick my leg like a dog, and you just do it. And in 6 months, you will see. Then it becomes almost impossible for you not to do it. It gains such a pattern inside you because that karma, that impression has become so strong. Or stick your tongue outside or do like this, like a dog. And when these samskaras, or if you keep watching a dog, and that image comes in your mind all the time, again and again, over and over, and when you die, your mind, your consciousness gets sucked into that type of body. So it is said, the last days of life is much more important than the whole life. To emphasize this, in India, there are many, many stories. But that's why people keep, usually an old man who is on his deathbed, he is so attracted to his children. That's why they name the children in the name of God. There is a story about a king, Ajamila. You heard about that. Ajamila was the king. He was an atheist till his death. Even up to after his death, he could not be anything after death. If that was possible, he could have been an atheist even after death. But that was not possible. So, till death, he was an atheist. At the last moment when he was dying, he called his son Narayan Narayan. His son's name was Narayan. And he was thinking about him, Narayan Narayan. It seems God thought he is being called. So Narayan came and liberated him. This is a story saying that Ajamila, even at deathbed, just called by mistake, took the name of God, so he became liberated. I mean, it's an extreme way to saying the last impression carries much weight than whatever one does the whole life. Said about the same thing he said about a saint, a very enlightened saint, a rishi, was on the bank of a river meditating. And he saw a deer, a small deer, with a baby deer in the flood, in the water. So he jumped in and saved the deer, like any human would do. He bandaged that deer. It had hurt its leg and he cared for it. And then he got so attached to the deer, looking always after the deer. And he said when he died, he became a deer. This is the only instance there an enlightened person said, almost it's impossible for the liberated man to be tied back into an animal body. It's one of the impossibility. And this example, Jada Bharat, is quoted throughout. Just to tell you that last impression is most important, that even he became a deer. Same thing, no? Even when you go to sleep, the children, when they go to bed in the night, the last thing, if they see some horror movies and go to bed, they get nightmares. They cry or shout or do all that thing, isn't it? How to get rid of this? Te hlada paditapa phala punya apunya hetutvat. These impressions, when they are good impressions, they bring you more joy, more happiness. And if these impressions are not good impressions, they bring you suffering. It depends on the merit and demerit that you have done. You have done good to people, that good karma accumulates and brings you more joy. Anybody is happy because they are owed. They have done something good in the past. If anybody is miserable, they have done something miserable in the past. So here he connects every happiness and every misery to some action of the past. All that is in your karma tank. So meditation is the way we are just washing out all that. Nothing becomes so light, hollow, empty, all the karmas and everything. And we sing and dance and do all this thing to thin down this veil that is on the self. It's very precious. Though sometimes you are sitting feeling bored, never mind. Know that you are just burning some old seas of boredom. Because if you are averse to boredom, the boredom will never leave you. If you are bored being with yourself, how much boring you should be for somebody else. So even if it is boring, never mind. Makes more and more sense to events. And that way it is one must overcome it. Tapas. This is called tapas. I'm doing it. Be nice, willingly. Just take a step. Okay, willingly, I am going to do this. However boring this is, I will do this. Let me see. How can something put me off? We have a challenge, no? You often take challenges. Here, take a challenge. Let me see. Let me see this. This is the way to get over your boredom. Is kindle the challenge in you. Why won't you lose? I challenge. All this can just help you. Namaste.